What up, Facebook world? Bianca here for another awesome Facebook Live. So I was in Guatemala, right? I was studying. I'm gonna have to move, to be honest. All right. Okay, shade on the face. Beautiful. Right, so I was in Guatemala last year. I was studying Spanish. I was literally living a dream. I was on the trip that had been on my vision board 2 years before. I'd written it up. I'm gonna go study Spanish. I'm gonna go away for 6 months through Latin America. I'm gonna take my business on the road, right? I'd gotten myself from the point of having literally no clients to the point of having my business bring in the money that I wanted it to bring in. Not only bring in the money, but also allow me to travel for 6 months, right? I'd written a book. I'd become an author. And I'd launched the book. I was at school. I was in Shayla in Guatemala. And I remember someone asking me at that point. I was really stressed out, by the way. If you ever launch a book, if you ever study a language and run a program, little word of advice. Try to plan to do them a little bit separate times. I was studying for 3 weeks and I chose to launch my book in that time, where I was a bit more pressed for time than any other time during my travels. So I was stressed out. I was like going to school during the day. I was going home at night, finalizing details for my book and the book launch and like final edits and get it together and like get people knowing about it and all this kind of stuff, right? Promote it and get it out there. And I was really tired. I was really exhausted. I was really stressed out. And I remember a girl saying to me who was studying with me, she was like asking me after the book launched and everything, like, oh, how did your book launch actually go? And I'd been featured in international media and stuff, and I was like, it went okay, but like, I don't know, like, you know, it was alright, like, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't really happy with what had gone on. And she was like, you wrote a book. And it was a real wake-up call for me. Like, writing a book was actually a dream of mine, and I'd written a book. Yes, it was an ebook. Yes, next time I write a book, it's going to be on Amazon. It's going to be paper copy. It's going to be everything, like hard copy. But I was like so focused on this thing and like that I didn't hit these certain things. And yeah, it got featured in media, but it was only some like little unknown things, and little did I know, like over the coming days, that I would actually come to realize, and to be perfectly honest, I didn't realize how many media outlets had featured my book until like 3 weeks later, because I just had this in my mind, like, oh yeah, it was okay, but I just got featured in these little places. It wasn't really what I expected. And sometimes, a lot of the time for a lot of people in their life, and this has come up in so many sessions, we're so focused on what we didn't get and what we don't have that we don't actually stop and be proud of what we've achieved. Oh, it's good. I just got goosebumps, right? So focused on what everyone else has, what we want, what we don't have, that we do not stop and be proud of what we do have. Now, this is not... I love how the live just didn't show me that there was anyone on the line, and it was like, bam, there's 5 people watching. What's up, guys? So it's so common. I've had so many conversations around this with like clients, with friends, and that kind of thing over the last couple of days that I'm like, I know that. I've been there. I've had those times where you're just like, but I want this, but I want this. And you're not actually stopping, smelling the roses, and taking check of like how far you've come, how amazing you actually are, and what you've actually achieved, right? And everyone thinks the grass is greener on the other side. Like, ridiculous. I was talking to someone yesterday. They've been through a divorce, running their own business, right? Living where they want to live, which is not a cheap area of Sydney to live in, and someone who around our age, like, it's a big deal to own a property in that area of Sydney is pretty unreachable for a lot of people in our age group. A lot of people in general, right? And she has all this. And so I'm going, what are you talking about? Like, you've got this, you've done this, you've been through that. Like, what are you doing? Yet she was looking at what other people had and being like, oh, they've got this and like they've got that sorted and I don't. And everyone feels like they don't have their shit together when they look at other people. So one thing to remember is that everyone goes through crap. I don't care what you see on Facebook. Like, no one's going to post their shit. I mean, some people do, and I don't have those people on my feed. But no one's going to be like, hey, I look ugly today, so I took a selfie to share it with you. People don't really do that, right? People don't really tell you, like, oh, I went out to dinner and I felt fat, right? Or like, I just couldn't get out of bed this morning. I'm really feeling like absolute rubbish. Couldn't get out of bed, feel like crap, feel like I want the world to end. Generally, people don't share that stuff. They share when they're on holidays, they share when they're with their family, they're smiling in their photos, even if they feel like crap inside, right? And so there's this constructed world, and I try to be as real as I can on social media for this reason, because I know a lot of people, I just got off the phone from someone who told me, you always look so happy and positive and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, generally I am more positive than the average Joe. Like, definitely, like, my mindset's there. However, like, there's this perception of people on social media that's actually not real. You're not there when people are tired and frustrated, right? You're not there when they're snapping at their partner. You're not there when they're being a bitch to their sister. You're not there, like, when they're doing their day-to-day stuff and they're living out of ego and that kind of stuff. They don't post about that. So there's this constructed thing that people look at. And what I said to the girl I was speaking to yesterday is, like, comparison is the thief of joy, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. It robs us of our joy, right? We're like, oh, I'm here, but I want to be there. And then you get there and you're like, oh, I'm here, that's pretty good, but I want to be there. It's not really good enough. Until we accept that what we've done is amazing, awesome, and like feel super grateful and happy with where we're at, we're never, ever, ever going to feel satisfaction, fulfillment, happiness, and joy in our lives. Never. Because you're just going to keep doing the same thing. Keep climbing, keep trying. I'm not sure who's going nuts over there. It's like 2 people in the snow in the profile picture. I don't recognize it. But thank you for the love. I'm glad you're enjoying. Can you relate to this? If you're on the line right now, live or on the replay, can you relate? Like, just give me a yes, I can relate. Oh no, I don't know what you're talking about, Bianca. I always feel proud of everything I do. But pride is such a big thing, and it's something I work on a lot with clients. It's something comes up in conversation with friends over and over and over again. This is why I have, and feel free to join me. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I do my weekly wins. I really stop and take check, and that's a habit. It's a habit to be proud of ourselves. And it's something, unfortunately, especially in Australia, it's like, oh, you're up yourself. Oh, you're cocky. Oh, you think you're good. Yeah, I am good. Like, there's not a problem. Oh, hey, Josh. Right? There's not a problem with actually being proud of yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's something wrong, actually, what I feel, with our society that tells you that you shouldn't be proud of where you're at. Right? My phone just got nuts. I'm not sure what that means, Diana. So, like, you feel free to join me tomorrow. I do weekly wins every Wednesday, and I really just stop and take check of what's going on around me, right? Sometimes it's awesome stuff. Sometimes it's little stuff. Sometimes it's like, I got a new client. Sometimes it's like, the guy at the bakery gave me a discount. Sometimes it's like, I met this really cool person the other day on the train, or at this event I went to, whatever. It's day-to-day stuff. I know that there's people out there that see that. I know there's people out there that see that on a weekly basis, and in their minds, I can tell you what you're saying. You're going, oh, Bianca has all this good stuff happening in her life, and I don't. You do, you're just not looking for it. You have the same stuff. You have relationships that are awesome. You have great friends. You have family. You have a partner. You have a job. You have a roof over your head. Whatever you have, like, you have access to Facebook and the internet and the whole world, therefore, right? You have amazing stuff happening in your life. Maybe you've seen a post that really makes you happy. Cool. Like, celebrate it. Acknowledge where you're at in your life. Acknowledge what's going on, what's awesome. And be proud. Like, being proud is a habit. And it's a habit that I'd love to see all of you, every single person who watches this video, delve into and just be like, you know what? Screw society. I'm going to be proud of where I'm at. I'm here. I'm living in this amazing place. And if you're not, do something about it. If you're not happy with that, right? I'm here. I've chosen this. I've got this. I've got that. It's not even about having things or like living in a certain area. It's like, I've got my health, right? I can breathe, I can see, right? I've learned whatever I've learned in my job to get to me where I am. You know, there was once upon a time you didn't know that stuff. Once upon a time you didn't have the skills that you have at your job or in the kitchen or singing or whatever you have skills with right now. You didn't have those. You were not born with those skills. You learned them. Celebrate that, right? I think you guys get the point. So go in and take check, like write it down. Write it down for yourself. Like, what can I do? Not like, what can I do that no one else can? What can I do that whatever? It's just like, what can I do? Wow, that's really cool. I never used to be able to do that before. Wow, that's really awesome. Like, I've always wanted to do this and actually here I am doing it. Sometimes you realize that. You'll be like, you know what? I always wanted to do this and now I'm doing it. And I never actually took a second to be like, that's awesome. So now I am. And feel it in your body. Before I leave, I want to tell you that. Feel it in your body, right? Before we get off this live feed. If you don't feel it, you can say, oh, that's a good point. Yep, that's a good point there. I had a client, I'm not sure how much he was doing this morning, but we were messaging and he was like, yeah, that's a good point. I was like, dude, you're at this, right? He did some auditions. They were auditioning people for 6 months and they chose him. And then he had this like situation where he was like, oh, but I didn't hit all the notes perfectly. He's a musician. Didn't hit all the notes perfectly and that kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't know how many people they auditioned, but they chose you, right? Feel it. Not just like, it's a good point. It's like, yes, 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 they chose me. They chose me out of everyone in 6 months. They chose me. Really feel it. Because if you don't feel it, then you're not going to have that. You're not going to have fulfillment without actually feeling fulfilled. You're not going to have happiness without feeling happy. You're not going to have excitement without feeling excitement, right? You're not going to have pride without feeling the pride. You have to feel it. To have these things in your life, you have to feel them. So get yourself to that point. Write it down, guys. I challenge you. I urge you. I implore. Write it down. Get a pen and paper out. Write down even 5 things that you feel really chuffed with yourself about. You feel really happy. You feel really proud. You're making progress with something. You're learning something. You're losing the weight that you want to lose. You've, saved X amount of money. Celebrate it. You earned a certain amount of money, right? Celebrate it. Enjoy it. Feel proud that you created that. You've chosen that. That's it from me today, guys. Well, for this live feed anyway. Remember, as always, that you're creating everything in your life and it's so possible for you to create anything that you can imagine.